Now we get onto the point system. So this is a points-based visa. You need to score a minimum of 65 points in order to be eligible for the visa. Here we have listed different aspects of the points system. So your age will determine how many points you can score. People who are aged between 25 to 32 years of age will score the most points. As pointed out earlier in the webinar, anyone over the age of 45 is ineligible for this visa, and anyone over the age of 45 will score 0 points for their age. So unfortunately, if you're over 45, this is not an option for you.
Does it count when you turn 45 after you sent your application, or it doesn't matter just as long as you lodge your application before you turn 45?
Yeah, good question, Denise. So the trigger point for your age is actually upon invitation. So if you're invited to apply for the visa a day before your 45th birthday, then you just sneak in, okay? You've then got 60 days in which to submit the visa application. So it doesn't matter that you've turned 45 after you've submitted the visa. What's most important is that you received the invitation before you turned 45.
I see.
English language skills are also an important component to the points assessment matrix. And there's 3 different levels of English language: competent, proficient, and superior. For competent English, that's the basic level that you need to satisfy. You'll get 0 points, but you will satisfy the minimum regulations for English language at competent. Proficient, you'll get 10 points, and superior, you'll get 20 points. Now, there's 4 different English language tests that you can take, and a lot of clients spend a lot of time practicing and studying and preparing for an English language exam. Denise, tell us, what English language exam have you done in the past?
I took the IELTS.
You took the IELTS.
Yeah.
And did you take the IELTS when you were back home in the Philippines?
Yeah, I took it when I was still at home.
Do you want to share with us which competency level you achieved?
I got an 8.5. It's out of 9, I believe. But it could just be anything. It's quite subjective compared to the other English tests because the PTE, it's computer-based, so it's quite objective. With IELTS, you actually deal with an actual person grading you. So I could have been just lucky compared to other people.
I think you've done very well there, Denise. 8.5 is a very high score, so well done. It's important to note that the English language exams are judged over a number of different competency areas. So it's writing, speaking, listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to score well in each particular facet of the test in order to score an overall. But 8.5 as an overall is very good. Particularly, we suggest for clients to take the PTE test. We just find that most clients do best from the PTE test. So that's English language. Skilled work experience is broken down to experience gained in Australia and experience gained overseas. Overall, you can score a maximum of 20 points your work experience, and that can be combined from overseas and here in Australia. There's a slightly increased points if your work experience is accrued here in Australia. They value work experience accrued here in Australia more so than they do overseas. So that's interesting to know. Your education, so you will score points in accordance with your qualifications. Your qualifications must be assessed to be equivalent to an Australian standard, what we refer to as an AQF, an Australian Qualification Standard. And typically, if you have a degree from overseas, which is at an Australian standard, then you'll score 15 points. And that's probably where the majority of our clients sit within that matrix. For a lot of people who have studied here in Australia, you can score points for having studied here in Australia. And you can score more points for studying in a regional area. There's credentialed community language as well. So if you speak another language and you've been assessed to speak in that other language, then you can score points in that as well. You can score points for your partner's skills, whether or not they have English language skills or whether or not they have a skills assessment of their own. And it's quite common for applicants here in Australia who have a partner who are from overseas, who have studied here in Australia, for both them and their partner to have a skills assessment in their particular occupation, and that will increase your skills as well. And then finally, the nomination or sponsorship, you'll score 15 points for 491 for being nominated by a state or territory. So it's important to assess yourself under the points matrix to determine whether or not you have sufficient points. Again, 65 points is the minimum in order to qualify for the visa.